Imagine standing on a battlefield staring at an enemy so powerful, so overwhelming that by human logic, you've already lost. But then, instead of a sword, God hands you a stone. Instead of an army, He gives you a torch hidden inside a clay jar. Instead of modern weapons, He gives you a trumpet. In the eyes of men, it's foolish. In the hands of God, it's unstoppable. This is the story of how God used the smallest, most ordinary thing to crush the biggest, most terrifying enemies. Segment 1, the sling and the giant. Let's start with the most famous, David and Goliath. The Philistine army was unbeatable. Goliath was their champion, over 9 feet tall, wearing armor heavier than David himself. His spear's head alone weighed as much as a bowling ball. Every soldier in Israel trembled. But David, a shepherd boy, didn't see Goliath as the problem. He saw him as an opportunity for God's power to shine. Instead of armor, David took 5 smooth stones and a simple sling. The odds ridiculous, yet with one shot, guided by faith, the stone struck Goliath's forehead, and the giant fell. The entire Philistine army fled. The lesson? God doesn't need your strength, He needs your trust. Segment 2, the lamps, clay jars, and trumpets. Next, Gideon's 300 warriors. The Midianite army was like locusts covering the land, over 135,000 soldiers. Gideon had 32,000 men, but God told him too many. After several tests, only 300 remained. Their weapons? Not swords, not spears, but trumpets, torches, and clay jars. At night, they surrounded the Midianite camp, hid the torches inside the jars, and at Gideon's signal, they broke the jars, letting the light blaze, and blew the trumpets while shouting, "For the Lord and for Gideon." The Midianites panicked, turned on each other, and fled in total chaos. No sword fight, just light, sound, and faith. Segment 3, the shepherd's staff against an empire. Before Israel even had a homeland, Moses faced the might of Egypt. The only thing in his hand, a shepherd's staff. With that staff, God brought plagues upon Egypt, parted the Red Sea, and brought water from a rock in the desert. It wasn't the staff's power. It was God showing that the smallest object can be the mightiest weapon when He commands it. Segment 4, the donkey's jawbone. Then there's Samson. When the Philistines came for him, he didn't have a sword. He grabbed the nearest thing in the jawbone of a donkey. With it, he struck down 1,000 Philistine warriors. God didn't need a warrior's weapon, He needed a willing hand. Segment 5, the shout that brought down walls. When Joshua led Israel to Jericho, the walls were impenetrable. God's battle plan? Walk around the city once a day for 6 days, and on the 7th day, march around 7 times. Then shout. No catapults, no battering rams, just a shout of obedience. And when they obeyed, the walls crumbled instantly. Segment 6, the little lunch that fed thousands. Even in the New Testament, Jesus used small things for big victories. When thousands were hungry, the disciples had no solution. All they found was 5 loaves and 2 fish from a boy's lunch. In human terms, it wasn't even enough for the disciples themselves. But in Jesus' hands, it fed over 5,000 men, plus women and children, with baskets of leftovers. Segment 7, the mustard seed faith. Jesus also spoke of faith like a mustard seed, the smallest seed in the garden. Yet if you have even that much faith, He said, you can move mountains. God's strategy is clear. He delights in taking what seems too small, too weak, too insignificant, and using it to display His glory. A stone, a lamp, a trumpet, a staff, a jawbone, a shout, a lunch, a seed. So the next time you feel too small to make a difference, remember, with God, small things don't stay small. They become unstoppable weapons in His hands.